Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on Facebook Live, and on YouTube, as well as podcasts everywhere, and talklawradio.com. Marquardt Law Firm is sponsoring our show today, and attorneys at Marquardt Law Firm focus on business and estate law. And during the fourth segment, I like to talk about legacy because that's what estate law is all about.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
Okay, so estate law is last wills, living trusts, tax-protected inheritance plans. Business law and estates use new businesses and old businesses which might have issues with corporations, contracts, LLCs, family limited partnerships, and we can represent those who are facing problems from lack of planning, like in county court, district court, or probate court. Check out the blog at marquardtlawfirm.com for more information. Today I've been talking about the R.E.A.D.E.R Act, talked about court case called Book People about the R.E.A.D.E.R Act and about whether it was constitutional. Talked about the tennis player Sinner who won an amazing match that he's being recognized for, and talked about a self-proclaimed saint, Pastor Eli, who said that he received a message from God to sell fake cryptocurrency to his congregation and was being sued for that so that he would stop selling fake cryptocurrency and committing fraud against his own parishioners. He's what I would call a wolf in sheep's clothing, rather. And so now I want to talk about a law that might impact you without you knowing it, and it's called the Corporate Transparency Act. The word corporate in the name Corporate Transparency Act is actually a misnomer because the act covers people that have corporations, LLCs, limited partnerships, or any business entity that has to be filed with the Secretary of State or Indian tribe. And so I'm asking everyone to look at their plans, look at their business, look at their estate plan, look at their will or trust or whatever, and try and remember, did you set up an LLC or limited partnership as part of your estate plan? Because this act requires you to file something to report private sensitive information to a new government entity, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, because the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network is having a hard time finding the bad guys, so they're going to start evaluating all the good guys. This is what I call a stop and frisk of law-abiding businesses for the purpose of trying to find evildoers out there, those who launder money, those who finance terrorism and the like. So need to be aware of the Corporate Transparency Act. You can call your lawyer, you can call your CPA, or you can call Marquardt Law Firm. I've just made it my mission in life since I heard about this to find out everything about it and what all information has to be reported and how easy can I make it for people to report. This is something that you can do by yourself on your own by going to the website for the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. And it's got an ongoing obligation for you to report changes. So some of the information you have to report is not only your business address, but your home address. So if you move your business or if you move your home, you have to file an updated report with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. But here's the good news. You can learn more about this act by going to a workshop that I'm hosting on February 7th, 2024 at the Educational Service Center, Region 20. That address is 1314 Hines Street. But please register. You can find a link to register online on Facebook, on Twitter X, or on, what's the other one? LinkedIn. So search for me there so that you can click the link, or you can call my office at 210-530-4278 to register. That's 210-530-4278. If you don't want to go online and register by computer or smartphone, you can call 210-530-4278, or you can email welcome at Marquardt Law Firm. That's WELCOME at marquardtlawfirm.com. I'll also put a link in the show notes on the podcast, and I'll also put a link in the comments on the Facebook Live post. And if I can figure it out with Mark's help, maybe we'll put a link on the YouTube videos that get posted later on this week, because this is important. They're saying that there's probably 33 million businesses that already have to report. And I've seen reports of, or estimates of, that there's up to 2 million entities being filed every year. And I'm sure that people will get used to it and they'll figure out how to do this yourself. But right now, I'm just trying to bring awareness to the community about the Corporate Transparency Act. So the problem that the government has been coming up against is that there are what they call shell companies that make it hard for the government to find out, well, who is the decision maker of that company? Who actually owns that company? And so their big idea is to force small businesses and families that use LLCs or limited partnerships in their estate planning to register and disclose private, secure information to this Financial Crimes Enforcement Network to find out who these evildoers are. And I was just trying to think this through, trying to understand in my own mind how this would work out. Well, let's say that somebody is a money launderer and they're using shell companies and they're not in compliance of this act. Well, what's the penalty for failing to file? $500 per day. Well, if a money launderer is successful and they're successfully laundering millions of dollars by not registering with this, and they're subject to paying $500 a day, wouldn't it be worth $500 a day for them not to disclose their private information, which would subject them to many more millions of dollars in fines and many more years in jail? Or let's say it's somebody who's financing terrorism. Well, I've been hearing that those terrorist organizations get hundreds of millions of dollars from all types of people and organizations and governments and institutions. Well, do you think that they're afraid of paying a $500 fine per day or having to spend 2 years in jail? No, that's chump change for them. The United States government gives terrorist organizations like Hamas enough money to cover those fines. So I hope that this law accomplishes what it was meant to, or I hope it's repealed, or I hope it's found unconstitutional because, that brings up another thought. I did find a court case challenging the constitutionality of this law, and guess what? I'll talk about it tomorrow at 4:30 in the afternoon. That's a recorded show. I recorded it last week. I just now remembered that I had done that. So if you want to learn more about the Corporate Transparency Act and about the challenges to its constitutionality, listen tomorrow at 4:30 in the afternoon, or find that episode on podcast, Facebook Live, or YouTube. It's a thrilling episode. So I wanted to talk more about why do people use LLCs and limited partnerships as part of their estate planning. Well, it could be because they're using an LLC as part of their investment strategy. They might use it to help teach the family business to their children, or to teach, how the finances work in the family. It's sort of a way of bringing in the beneficiaries or the children and teaching them how money works. It could even serve as a family loan portfolio, which I've heard other clients doing. And then there's the limited partnership, which is sometimes used to reduce the value of the estate so that you don't have to pay federal estate tax. Now the federal estate tax exemption is very high this year. It's over $13 million. As long as you leave less than $13 million, you don't have to pay federal estate tax. But there should be lots and lots of limited partnerships out there from back in the day, back in the olden days when the federal estate tax exemption was only $600,000. Well, nowadays, you could come up with $600,000 with a house, a car, and a retirement plan, and life insurance counts against that too, unless you have an irrevocable life insurance trust. Well, I hope you've learned something about Corporate Transparency Act today. I hope you've learned about the R.E.A.D.E.R Act. If you have an opinion about whether the state interest in preventing harmful materials to be consumed by children is more important, or let me know if you think the First Amendment is more important. Send me an email at host@talklawradio.com, or post a comment on the social media provided. Also, you can weigh in on whether cryptocurrency is a security subject to the securities laws, or you can help explain to me why Bitcoin specifically is not a cryptocurrency. I'm looking for that information as well. Thank you for joining me today on Talk Law Radio. Please go to YouTube to subscribe to that channel. YouTube wants me to have 1,000 subscribers before I can stream live from there. I'm Todd Marquardt. Talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.